I'm not gonna lie to you, going on a date is a lot like going on an interview. Even if you're qualified, that doesn't mean that you're gonna get the opportunity. You gotta have that extra charm if you wanna see her again and not get ghosted. That's why today, I'm gonna pass on some wisdom to you on how to survive dating according to anime. Now, hopefully you've watched the first video and hopefully you've gotten a date with the girl of your dreams. But how do you keep from not messing things up with her and keep your momentum going? Well, have no fear, for I am here. That's right, your Black Anime Dad will give you some of the do's and don'ts for a date and beyond. And as we said in the last video, this video is for comedic purposes, but I will give you some real pro tips that have worked for me in the past. But just know that not everything is 100% guaranteed to work. And number two, when trying to get a relationship with a woman, you need to establish a real connection with her, where she both trusts and feels comfortable around you. Being just friends is not an option. Love will come later down the line, but you do want to have that genuine connection. So before we pick up where we left off in the last video, I'm gonna need you guys to do me a favor. Make sure that you like, comment, share this video around. Sub up to the page if you're watching this on YouTube. And after you sub up, please make sure you hit that hype button. And if you're watching this on TikTok, drop me a follow. So, a little bit of housekeeping. In the last video, before we get into our current advice to help out my guys, in the last video, somebody asked, well, how do I get a boyfriend? What would I have to do? So, if you are a lady who is looking to get a boyfriend, there are 3 simple things that you really need to do. The first thing that you need to do is make sure that you don't give it away too quickly, that you may be ratchet or a gold digger, because most guys don't like that. Some guys do, but most of them don't. So if you are that way, don't tell them. You gotta play it classy, like Nami does from One Piece. She is a gold digger, but she's got a lot of other redeeming qualities. Make sure that you let those shine. Number 2, don't say anything that makes you sound mentally unstable. Keep the revenge stories to yourselves. You know, that like that time that you slimed out your whole clan, or when you blew up your ex's car even though you wasn't mad. You know, keep those types of stories to yourself. The third tip is the most important. You need to look as attractive as possible. In fact, you could forget points number 1 and 2. If you're attractive enough, a lot of guys are not even gonna care. We live in the time of simps, and men are down bad. And if you can make yourself sexy enough, you might not get a marriage mate, but if you follow these 3 basic steps, it'll put you on the radar of most men, and then you can pick and choose which one you want, while accepting all the attention that comes your way, which is what women want, until they meet a guy that they actually like, or they see their friends getting married and having children, and they say, well, I really want that. I should meet a nice guy. So, ladies, those are my 3 points of advice for you. But if you can do number 3 really well, at the end of the day, it did work for Boa. She had the whole One Piece world minus Luffy simping for her. So, guys, now that your anime dad has helped out the ladies, it's time to get back to my main audience, the men. So here is a preliminary tip before we even get into our main list. So now that you have the date, here's something that you're really gonna need to pay attention to: your dress and grooming. So above all, like we've said before, and especially in the last video, you wanna keep it clean. But when it comes to what you're gonna wear, please, no jerseys, no anime shirts, don't have no girls up on these anime shirts, and no stupid logos or signs or superhero shirts. None of that should be on your person when you go up on this date. You wanna look as normal as possible. You might be able to get away with a nice fitted t-shirt and a jacket. Note, if you do wear the t-shirt, it's got to be fitted. It's got to make you look real nice and muscular while you have it on. You could always wear a nice clean button up. And again, I say clean. She shouldn't be able to tell what you ate that day by looking at your shirt. Make sure whatever sneakers or shoes that you wear are clean as well. All you got to do is make sure that you leave the cat dog pants and the wife beater at home. Don't bring that out until you're ready to ask her dad for her hand in marriage, or possibly for your wedding date. And let me just say, I'm joking. Don't do that. Don't ever wear that. And before we go any further on our list, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you're hitting that hype button. If you're watching on a mobile app, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. So our first tip is to secure the contact info. We're not even going to talk about the date just yet. Just like my guy Kirito, you got to confirm your party members and make sure that you got the correct information. Never walk away without knowing that you got her contact information, either her phone number or at least her social media info, and check it. Send her a message. Make Make sure that it goes through. So here's a word of caution. Beware of the girl who tells you very quickly, hey, I won't give you my number, but you can have my social media. Number one, she could be just looking for attention and just wants you to sub up and follow her page like you should be doing to this page. You know, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, subbing up to the page on YouTube. And after you sub up, please make sure you hit that hype button. Also make sure that you following me if you're watching this on TikTok, you know, that type of thing. Secondly, what she could be wanting is to slow things down. She doesn't really know you. You know, she may want to get your social media, exchange it, and then investigate on you to make sure that you're not some type of creepy weirdo or stalker, which is perfectly justifiable. If this does happen, or if you're in the habit of sharing your social media with young ladies, make sure that you have nothing weird up there. Don't be having no weird anime bikini pics up there, no body pillows. Also, make sure that you don't have no sus pics with your homies. If you're looking like a stand user, that is definitely gonna keep you single. Nothing that talks about depression, being lonely, being a loser. Delete all that stuff if you have it on your account. No woman wants to read that. You should have learned that in the first video. And if you didn't, make sure that you go back and watch the video, How to Get a Girlfriend According to Anime. In other words, make sure that you appear as normal as possible. But let's look at things on the flip side. Let's say that things go really well and you do get a number. You gotta be like my guy Hobie from Viral Hit when he got Bomi's number. If she gives you her number, she's definitely giving you a chance. Which leads us to pro tip 2. If she does give you the digits or her information, some way to personally contact her, only call or message once. If it takes a long time for her to respond and she gives you some weak explanation like, oh, just seeing this now, or you're getting very short responses, possibly one-word answers, just focus on yourself, King. Either you're not interesting to her or you're not stimulating her enough in the conversation. She may not want to talk to you. Let's face it, if you're under 35 years old, we're constantly looking at our phones. Ain't no way that unless someone who's under 35 years old is not constantly looking at their phone and social media, they're gonna notice the moment that they get a message. If she's playing you like that, just focus on yourself. Just let it go. Just know that other guys are also in the DMs and texting her, and she's gonna respond to the most interesting. And if that's the response you get, it means that she's not interested, my guy. Move on. Which leads us to pro tip number 3. If you get a number and things are going well, invite her out. But when you invite her out, have something in mind. Don't just say, hey, you know, maybe we could hang out sometime. There are 2 different ways that you can handle this. Option A is go on a singular date, but that may put a lot of pressure because now you gotta be interesting. Pretty girls don't normally carry the conversation, and that could be a lot of pressure, especially if you've never had a girlfriend before or you're not the most confident guy around. So what I suggest is option B, which is a group date or a group activity where you can interact with her and show her personal attention, maybe playing like some type of light sport like bowling, playing pool. Not getting in the pool, that comes later. Mini golf. One of my personal favorites is having a game night, having people over where they interact. Maybe there's a little controversy in the game, there's jokes going on, there's food. Don't invite her to the movies because you're going to be paying attention to the movie. You're not really paying attention to her. And you can never ever go wrong with a place that has good food. Every woman everywhere, they like good food. So if you pick a place, let it be a good place, let it be affordable, just don't let it be bad, because if you bring her to a bad place and she really doesn't like the food, and worse yet, if it gets her sick, make sure the place that you pick is not a kitchen nightmare. If you see Gordon Ramsay walking out the back, you're gonna have a lot of explaining to do. That's not going to be a good look for you, my boy. Tip number 4. Pick an affordable restaurant if you take her out to a solo date, because you want to pick some place that you can afford. You definitely don't want to have to dine and dash like my boy Saitama did to Kabuki. And don't go overboard on these dates. You got to keep things within your range. You can't be doing horse carriage rides, plus a movie, plus dinner, plus boat ride around the whole city, because then she's going to think that you have money like that. And with women, it's always a rising arc. If you start out high, you got to stay high. If you keep it low, then the expectation will remain reasonable. And before we go any further on our list, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you're hitting that hype button. If you're watching on the mobile app, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. And this segues us nicely to our next tip, which is number 5. Don't spend money on a woman that you're sure doesn't want to be with you. You never want to end up in her phone under free food. You want to be the guy that she wants to spend her time with. but you don't want to be known as the money man, the guy who's always spending up every single piece of cash that he got. I mean, y'all saw what happened to my boy Krillin in Dragon Ball Z with Marin. She was straight playing him the whole time, and it was even worse if you watch DBZ Abridged. Now we're gonna get into number 6, which is not so much a pro tip but a suggestion, really a workaround to a situation that you might be in. What if you don't have a cool car, a cool whip? You know, you're not gonna pull up in the Batmobile and pick her up. What do you do then? Well, here's a simple workaround. If you don't even have wheels to begin with, you don't have a whip, the best thing you could do is pick a neutral location and meet her there. If things progress nicely, you leave out your way, she leaves out her way. You don't have to be balling out or go out and rent a car. If she's a woman who's not all about the cash, she'll be fine with getting to a location and leaving on her own. Best case scenario is that you get to leave with her and you get to take her back to her home. And now for a real piece of advice, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. But note, this tip is high risk, high reward, and can only be used on the first date. So let's say that you're going out with a young lady and she is just so beautiful. You're overwhelmed, your knees weak, palms are sweaty. So there's nothing wrong with letting her know, hey, I'm not saying a whole lot, you know, I gotta be honest with you. I am a little bit nervous. You're just so beautiful. This is something that you can say, just like my boy Homing did when he was with Bomi up in Viral Hit, but it only works on the first date. You can't be acting nervous and scared every single date. Like, she's gonna just like leave you. No girl wants to be with a guy who's afraid to communicate. A first date is the only place where you can get away with saying something like that. If you say it again, it's gonna hurt you moving forward, and you most likely not gonna get another date. Now, there's a B part to the tip number 6. Now, this is for all my chads here. Let's say that you're in the habit of rizzing up ladies. Here's a real big pro tip. Whatever number of ladies that you get or that you dated, make sure that you make it sound low. Because just like guys don't want to be with girls with a large body count, women don't want to be with a man with a large body count. Every woman wants to feel special. Always keep it to, oh, you know, if you have dated a lot of girls, keep your number very low and keep the reason why you're not with them very vague. Or at least say, well, I'm not dating these girls anymore because the connection just wasn't right. That is the best answer that you can give, and it makes you sound a little bit deeper than you are. And even though that's a lie, it's a good lie, so make sure that you memorize it. Boasting about high numbers does not impress any women. In fact, it may make them worry. It may make them assume that you're a player and that you're going to just play with their emotions. And before we go any further on our list, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you're hitting that hype button. If you're watching on the mobile app, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. Keeping this in mind, this segues us nicely into our 7th tip, which is avoid talking about your ex or past relationships. You know, if she starts talking about her ex, the best thing that you could do is cut her off and deliver a smooth line like, "Oh, say less." All jokes aside, you may want to say something like this. But if it's okay, let's save talking about our past for another time. I'm here because I want to enjoy you. You're whom I want to build something real with. Your exes were fools, and I don't want to make the same mistake by not giving you my full attention. She will melt like butter. You will need a mop, because she is going to be all into you. If you do this, she will feel a lot more drawn to you. When it comes to the ex talk, make sure that you save that for the phone or a conversation later down the line. No woman wants to talk about exes or hear about other women when she's on a date with you, no matter how much she likes you. She wants you to be focused and on her. Now, that leads us to our next tip, tip number 8, which is probably what you really want to happen. Physical touch. All I can tell you is that you want this to happen naturally. Don't force a kiss, don't force a touch, but women will let you know that they want to have physical contact with you. It might be something subtle with a little hand touch. It might be the way that she hugs you, or it could be more direct. If you're at a party, the way that she's dancing with you may tell you everything that you need to know. Or she may say, you know what, we gonna fight. And if you hear that, let me just tell you. Yeah, boy. The bottom line is this. Women won't initiate any physical contact with a guy that they don't feel safe around, that they don't trust, that they don't have some type of comfortability around. Things generally work out a lot better if you can wait for her to reciprocate and figure out how she feels and let her initiate some type of contact instead of forcing something to happen immediately after your love confession. And before we go any further on our list, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you're hitting that hype button. If you're watching on the mobile app, and if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. Now, let's talk about tip 9. Now, this is one that I have to follow myself. This is one that applies to us married guys, and guys who have been in relationships for a long time. Please do this. This is one of the hardest things to not do, especially in the time that we live in. Make sure that your attention is exclusively on her, and that you do not, I repeat, you do not be all up into your phone. Turn your electronic devices off and give your lady the undivided attention. Do not let social media or your electronic devices distract you from the beautiful woman in front of you. And that's something us married guys, dating guys who've been dating for a long time, and newly dating guys gotta keep in mind. Don't let technology ruin the moment. You gotta be in the moment with her, focused on her. Now, that leads us to tip number 10, which is have manners.
Manners maketh man. Do you know what that means?
You know, a lot of people talk a lot of trash about Sanji Simple for Women, but he would always have manners. He opened doors for them. He made sure that he was always polite to them. And if you let this happen and that door slams up in your girl's face, especially if this is a first date, you're going to have a lot of work to do if you want to get that second date. Technically, if that door slams in her face, it may be the end of the date. Women hate that when men don't do chivalrous things. Make sure that you're also being very respectful to the wait staff if you're at a restaurant. Little things like saying please and thank you and excuse me are always appreciated when you're talking to a lady. Tip 11 was on my last list, but we're going to get hyper specific with this one. Now, tip 11 is be clean, and we're going to focus on hygiene here. Bad breath can ruin any date. She could want to kiss you, but if that breath kicks her back, you're not getting nothing, and she may not even want to date you again. So make sure that you got some gum, you got some mints or something up on you, and have on that deodorant. You don't want her to pass out when you try to throw your arm around her. You want to make sure that you don't have any type of funk emanating off your body. Number 12 tip here is always have a plan for what will happen next. What y'all will do in your next date. You know, if you're going to invite her to do something, let it be specific. Remember, you're dating her, not the other way around. You have to be a leader. When a girl says yes to a date, she's not expecting to figure it all out for you. She's expecting to be taken out on a date. And before we go any further on our list, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching this on TikTok, make sure to drop me a follow. Now it's time for me to give you 2 bonus tips. My first bonus tip for you guys is if you're wondering, well, where do I meet these women? A good place to start is at a wedding. Why? Because when you're at a wedding, that is when a woman is most open to love. She's looking around, she's seeing all the joy and happiness that the bride is experiencing, and she wants to experience that for herself. Make your move. Make sure that if you do speak to a woman in this setting, that she is more so by herself, because if she's in front of her friends, that could trigger a no, or one of her more unattractive friends is going to answer for her. No, she don't want to dance. They'll be guarding her because they're not getting attention. So make sure that you approach this woman perhaps at the bar, or maybe you can start a conversation with her online for dessert, or perhaps for the food at the wedding. Maybe you playfully accuse her of picking out the same thing that you want. But if you want to meet women, the best way to do that may be through other friends, if you have other friends. I mean, that game night idea is always a winner, but the whole point is you got to get out there and touch grass. As for my final piece of advice, the last thing I want to tell you guys is that when it comes to dealing with the ladies, you have to have patience. We live in a world where any act of aggression is taken as something terrible, and it could rob you of your freedom. Anytime that you raise your voice, you know, it's like they want to lock you up and they want to make a Lifetime film about how terrible you are. You know, if you're dealing with any woman, no woman is perfect. They're not always going to do things the way that you want them to do it, the way that you want them to do it, or even at the time that you want them to do it every single time. Especially if this is the girl of your dreams, you got to make the effort to treat her well and not be angry with her and make her feel uncomfortable, because that could lead to you fumbling and losing the girl that you really like. So guys, that is one of the most important tips that I can give to you, especially if you black, because you already know the moment that your voice raises an octave, you could lose your life or your freedom. So make sure that you keep that in check. And of course, any type of physical violence is never the way to go. Never do that. So here's what you got to remember. You always need to keep your chill. You got to be like my guy Itachi, and you got to be like my guy Kakashi from Naruto. They were the perfect ninjas because no matter how bad a situation got, they kept a cool head and never acted out of character in most cases. And that's how we have to be as men. We have to keep it chill. Being a hothead is not the way to go, and it's not pleasant for anyone. And this is something personally that I wish I had mastered earlier in life. So with everything in mind, hopefully these tips will help you survive dating according to anime. And the last thing that I'm going to say as your black anime dad is that if you don't learn anything else from this video, throughout human history, whether in real life or in anime, there have been men that are not traditionally attractive who have ended up with high S-tier class looking women, and amazingly even had kids with them. And this could be the case for you. You don't want to be that guy who's a weirdo just staring at women. Don't be afraid to shoot your shot. You never know what can happen. There may be something about you that may really appeal to that woman, but you won't know unless you do something about it. Please drop in the comment section any dating tips that you want to share, and let me know what other parts of life that you would like me to make videos about, and I'll give you the answer according to anime. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share this video. Make sure that you sub up to the page, and after you sub up, please make sure you hit that hype button. And if you're watching on TikTok, drop me a follow, please. And as always, I am your anime dad. I'm not always around, but I'll be there when you need me. I shall see you guys in the next one.